Hello, fellow HubSpotters. This is Emma with Kiwi Creative, and today we're talking about the kind of broad but very applicable feature of tickets in the HubSpot Service Hub. Tickets are a great way of capturing and keeping track of any type of back and forth conversation that has a endpoint or a resolution. So that means certainly customer support, technical support tickets, kind of the standard, but that can also mean internal creative or technical requests from other departments or even freelancers or vendors. And even if you didn't buy Service Hub, you still get the ticket feature for free. So this video is for everybody. In this video, I will explain what HubSpot tickets are, what they can do, review a few different use cases to help you think through how you could potentially use them in your organization. We'll talk about the anatomy of a ticket, demonstrate 3 different ways of creating tickets, how to progress and close them, and of course, how to report. So kind of first and foremost, tickets are a free HubSpot feature that gathers incoming inquiries or issues. They keep things organized with pipelines and stages and allow you to identify patterns that could indicate an underlying problem. They also act as a singular point of customer conversations. So it doesn't matter if a team member is out of the office, you can pick right up where they left off if the customer requires additional help. And with reporting, you can monitor common ticket types, average time to close, if you're compliant with SLAs, all kinds of stuff. The ticketing function of HubSpot isn't as robust as Jira, for example. But the huge advantage is that all of the tickets are connected to the associated contact, company, deal, the other objects, right? You can easily find and keep track of customer concerns all within a single CRM. No more having to go to separate tools to track down where the problem is. And then coupled with your web traffic, form submissions, email engagement, you can create a comprehensive picture of your customer from the marketing, sales, and service perspective. HubSpot tickets are also great for the same reason that most of HubSpot's pretty great. You don't need a developer or a dedicated resource to create and manage the tickets feature. It's simple yet comprehensive enough that members of your marketing team or your account management team can completely knock it out of the park. Of course, tickets are great for fielding customer questions and concerns. We know that. That's the traditional use. But don't hesitate to get creative. The ticketing tool can actually be used by internal facing teams like IT, web, design, marketing. The marketing team could easily use tickets to organize and prioritize incoming requests for collateral, social posts, copy. Your IT team can use tickets for employee issues or requests for new hardware. The Service Hub can actually be used a ton by marketing departments and other internal teams. So go ahead and click below to get a white paper we wrote, Unexpected Ways Marketers Can Use HubSpot's Service Hub, and see what you can squeeze out of that hub. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ticket dashboard. If we navigate up to the top and click Service, first feature. Now, of course, if you are the free version, these other feedback, surveys, knowledge base, you won't be able to access, but we can go ahead and click Tickets. And if you are a Sales Hub user, this is very similar. You can view your tickets in a list. This is great because then you can sort by pipeline, status, create date, other fields like that. You can also view your tickets per pipeline or all of them. In this case, this is my demo portal, so we only have the one, but should you have multiples, you can see everybody. You can also filter by just your open tickets that are assigned to you, tickets that are unassigned. And of course, you can view them on a board, just like your deals and Sales Hub. And of course, this is really great for understanding how many tickets are in what status, potentially which ones require your attention first. You can continue to search for tickets in the bar. Of course, that gets a little trickier because you need to know the ticket name or ID, but you can also filter them by owner, create date, other filters, so things like priority, or if you have custom fields, you can search here. So let's grab one of these tickets and take a look at it, right? I'll just go ahead and grab my 2-year-old HubSpot check-in ticket for this example. And just like with all the other HubSpot objects, this record is laid out the same. The left-hand sidebar, of course, is the most pertinent information, and I'll move my head here. This section here is editable, just like the other objects. So if you prefer to see a different field other than priority, or additional fields beyond just these ones that are the default, you absolutely can find them. If you click view all properties, you can go digging, you can find these bad boys. But as you can see, like that's 41 properties by default out of the box. That's no custom field. So this can get really tricky the more you have. Another option, of course, you can edit this in your settings. You can specify what goes there, right? The middle column, as always, this is your activity log. You can click the tabs to find those specific activities as well as create new entries for those specific activities. So you can visit calls and either see them or make a phone call or log one. You can visit meetings to see meetings or create one. You can also manage your filtering activity right here. So if you're sending postcards, go ahead and click postal mail, right? If you are not using the team activity, you can take that away, and that would change what's displayed on this list. Of course, the right-hand column, this is all the associations. We can see that this particular ticket is associated to Emma, right? We can see it's connected to a specific company, and this is what I mentioned earlier in the video. All of the associations can become very valuable. Does Emma submit a ton of tickets? Is something going on? Is she always asking about the same thing, right? Can we identify any patterns or outliers based on these associations? We can also see the conversation that opened this ticket. So this was a connected channel that created this ticket. And any other type of associations. Of course, this right-hand sidebar, you can also drag and drop things or edit what order this comes in. So let's look a little bit about the behind the scenes of a ticket, right? And we're going to go ahead and navigate there through the settings cog. Now, just like any other object, you can create custom properties for your tickets. And of course, that's under the data management section. We click properties. Of course, the default view is contacts, but should we select tickets, very last one for me, out of the dropdown, we can see the standard fields or any custom ones you created. And of course, you can create new ticket properties. So if you would prefer that customers don't type in the ticket problem, just free text, you prefer them to select from a specific dropdown, here's where you would do that. If we visit instead under objects, so we are currently in properties, let's go ahead and click tickets. This is where we can go ahead and kind of set up our pipelines and our statuses, right? So again, if you're familiar with sales tools, the pipelines portion right here is nearly identical. Pipelines are buckets used to separate a group of tickets that need to be treated differently. So free and starter service hubs, we only get one. But if you are pro and enterprise, you can have several. So the instance in where you would utilize different pipelines is maybe local customers route to one pipeline because they require different statuses, different steps. They're handled a little differently. Maybe a different team handles them, or maybe you'd like to report on them differently. We just want to report on local customers. Maybe international users go a different way, or maybe web requests go to one pipeline because it's handled differently. It requires specific info. Maybe graphic design requests are handled differently, reported on differently. So you want to batch these pipelines based on how they're treated. Now, there are 4 standard statuses. Again, Sales Hub, we call them stages. Here, they're statuses, right? There's 4 standard right out of the box. New, waiting on contact, waiting on us, and closed. You will notice, however, it's a little bit different than deal stages because there's not a deal probability percentage. It's just open or it's closed, period. There's no tracking the percentage of which it's gonna close, right? So the reason being, tickets are meant to kind of go back and forth, right? Deal stages are meant to progress in a linear fashion, only one way, goes a single direction. Tickets do go back and forth because it's often an ongoing conversation like we talked about. To create an additional pipeline, if you are indeed pro or enterprise, very simple, you select a pipeline and you create it. You title it and you'll have, we'll skip that part, we'll have those standard statuses. You can add different ones, right? But what's kind of cool is that we can add those additional required properties. So perhaps before a ticket is completely closed, we would like to add resolution, and we have to make sure our team populates that, we're going to make it required. So what that means, I got to move my head and save it. What that means, of course, is before the ticket is closed, someone has to answer this question. And we'll kind of see how that goes in a little bit when we run our demo further. The feature here in this back end is this Automate tab. This is pretty cool because, as you can see, you can check and uncheck these boxes. And what that does is, as soon as an email is sent to the customer or end user, whoever submitted the ticket, if our team sends an email to them, the status will automatically change, right? If we check the box that says, well, when the customer or the ticket submitter emails us back, that will automatically what? Change the status. So that's very nice because it removes the need for manual changing of the status. Oh, I emailed the user back. Let me go ahead and remember to update the status. We're going to go ahead and check these boxes because that will happen automatically for us. And again, this is a two-way conversation. Potentially, this ticket will go back and forth to these stages several times. So now that we kind of look through this back end, let's go ahead and actually talk about how to create a ticket. So there are three ways, and each certainly are appropriate in certain instances, but you may find that one method works better for your business or your process than others. So the first things first, let's head on over to Service, Tickets, and you can create a ticket manually, one by one. From your tickets dashboard, you can say create ticket. You can also do this from the contact company or deal record. So if you know that Tim, demo contact, right, is calling us and you're already on his record, we can head on over to the right-hand sidebar and click add. We're going to go ahead and create a ticket. This way is nice because then it's automatically, if we scroll down, associated with Tim. Automatically associated with the company. So a human doesn't have to take that step. And Tim's on the phone and he's telling me his problem and I'm going ahead and I'm populating this manually, right? You'll see some are required. You can of course update that. You'll see we only have the one pipeline. The ticket status is indeed new. I'm going to go ahead and give a little description, the priority, things of that nature, right? So this is great if someone's leaning over your cubicle wall asking for help or a phone call, right? So again, we can automatically associate it with the correct contact and company from their records. If we were visiting the tickets dashboard and creating a ticket there, if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice obviously the association is blank. So this is an extra step. You may want to keep that in mind when you're training your team on how to create tickets. Maybe we just tell them they do it from the contact record. This way's pretty manual. You can see potentially this isn't very sustainable if you're getting a ton of phone calls. If you have a limited team, creating every ticket manually can get a little overwhelming. Another way is to connect an inbox. So should you have a generic email address such as help@support@, you can connect that to HubSpot. So any emails that come to that address are now captured in HubSpot, connected to the correct customer based on their email address, and can automatically create a ticket. So what's nice too is that in this option, anyone that has access to HubSpot can see all the emails that come through to that connected inbox. So we talked about before, if someone's on vacation, it doesn't matter. Everyone can field the requests. So the only downside to this method is that you're relying on the user or the folks sending the email to provide enough and accurate information. So sometimes with this connected inbox method, you have instances where your team will have to clarify information, right? It takes a little bit longer. So to do that, we go ahead and visit our settings as always. And then the left-hand sidebar, we're going to head on down. Under the tools section, the very bottom, we'll select inbox and we're going to go ahead and click inboxes, right? Now the default inbox is just titled inbox and we just have the one. You can indeed create additional inboxes. Again, it kind of talks about the pipelines, right? Is it appropriate to have certain inboxes go to certain pipelines or be treated differently? That's okay. So with this demo, we'll just stick with this regular old inbox. And when you say connect a channel, of which we have one, right? But we'll say connect a channel. You'll see you have a few channels that you can connect. We'll talk about forms in a moment. Facebook Messenger can be tricky because typically that's best case for B2C customers. And of course, Facebook, they don't have to give us their email address. So that can become a lot of information with not a lot of great details very quickly. Also, the WhatsApp integration is brand new, so you could do that. For this example, we'll pick team email. You'll select your provider. say you won't be naughty, and select your appropriate email, right? Now, we already went through this process. And you can see here that my marketing at kiwicreative.net is connected. So now that my email address is connected, it's toggled on. If I were to hover and click edit, I can go ahead, and it's kind of hidden, this automation tab here. This is where I would say, yeah, treat any conversations as an incoming support ticket. So if I turn this off, that's okay. I would still get all of these conversations and I could access them here in my inbox. But if I want it to be a ticket, go ahead. So again, this is a great option if that makes sense. If it's help at, you know that folks are emailing potentially ticket related issues. If it's contact us at, you're going to get a lot of variation in your inbox now. So we're going to go ahead and leave that. We, of course, could edit what has to be created on that ticket, but we'll save that for later. And so now we have that configuration. There we go. This bad boy is now connected, which is wonderful. So again, this is great for having everyone have that access. The final way that you can create a ticket, and this is, again, great for the customers doing the work, the ticket submitters doing the work. They're the ones submitting the ticket, and it requires that they give you certain info. So you don't have to do the back and forth and getting more info, pulling teeth like you would with a connected inbox. And that's just using a regular old form. So under marketing, lead capture, form, and we can grab any old form, right? I think I have an example here. Create a ticket. Went ahead and made that. The only difference is that in your form, you can ask your regular contact questions, contact fields. But here at the bottom, if we scroll on down, what do you know? Ticket properties. If I toggle that on, it is now automatically creating tickets. You also can add, as would make most sense, various fields that are required for you to process this ticket. Okay. So if we visit options here and scroll on to the bottom, you'll see that this is indeed creating tickets, and it's going to my inbox. I only have one inbox. You would have to manage the settings and specify if you wanted it in a different inbox. Now, something to keep in mind, there are very few ticket fields, and some of them maybe aren't as appropriate on a form. So something like ticket description, guess what? They're going to give you everything in the kitchen sink. Maybe instead that's an option to say, I'd rather them pick from a dropdown, right? Maybe ticket name. They don't know what to name their ticket. So let's click it. We won't make it required. We'll actually hide it, right? Maybe we're going to name the ticket via workflow later. Maybe a combination of contact name and whatever they select from the dropdown for the problem. So let's go ahead and try that. Maybe we'll hide ticket description as well. Or maybe let's relabel that. And of course, when we relabel something, the name in the backend doesn't change for us. It'll still always be the same. But for a user, ticket description, maybe we'll say instead, please tell me more about your issue. Let's be a little more descriptive so they know what information to give us. So we'll hang on to that. And let's also go ahead and create a new field, because this ticket name for me isn't what I want to use. Instead, I can also, of course, create a new field the old-fashioned way and go to properties and create a field, but we can do it right from the form. So I'm going to click drop down. I need to specify it's a ticket, right? My group is just for organizational purposes, so I'm going to go ahead and call it ticket info. And my label is issue. And the description, of course, is just for us other HubSpot users to kind of keep it together. So maybe I'll leave a description for my teammates. This field picks what the primary problem is. Of course, this is editable, and maybe that doesn't make sense, but you can determine that. So I only want to present a few options that folks can pick. I don't want them to be able to say whatever they want, because that's a little crazy. So maybe my problems are request type, right? And what's the issue? Graphic design. Maybe this is an internal ticket. Maybe copywriting is the service they're looking for. HubSpot support. Maybe they need to talk to Emma. Dog walking, okay, cake baking. Maybe these are the top 5 concerns that I get. These are the top 5 request types, okay? I'm going to create it, and what do you know? It's right there on my field, right there on my form. I can, of course, relabel this. I'm going to make it required too, because they need to tell me. Maybe we're going to relabel this and just say request type. And of course, I can drag that. I can drag a ticket name. I've hidden that, right? I don't want that. And there you go. Now when they submit this, we're going to get, yes, of course, when they submit this, we'll now have that ticket, right? So maybe, can I go ahead and view this? I'll just go ahead and submit a test. What's my email? Emma at Kiwi Creative. What's my request type? Cake baking, of course. I actually prefer pie. Can you make a pumpkin, please? Okay. Cake baking was the most. So now we've submitted that. So now if I head over to my tickets, let's talk about how to progress and close tickets. We have a couple of examples now. So there's my new ticket. I didn't make that workflow to rename it yet, right? Well, let's go ahead and open this ticket. It's already associated with Emma. It's already associated with how the ticket was made. It's already associated with the company. I already have, to view all my properties, the request type, right? So I don't have to guess what Emma's looking for. Oh, I called it issue. That's right. I already know what she's calling in for. So I can progress this ticket a couple ways. Right here from the ticket, of course, I can edit the name. I can change all the usual fields. Under this little, it's kind of hidden, status, you'll see new, of course, is hyperlinked. I can change it right there. I can also change it by emailing Emma back. Remember, we specified the automation. If I email her back, it's going to automatically change. I also, maybe I spoke with her on the phone. I didn't email, right? So the automation doesn't take. I can go ahead and grab this and drag it. Just like our deal stages, right? Grab and drag and drop, okay? Oh, how do I close it? Couple ways. If I go in the ticket and update that status to closed, that's one way. Oh, what do you know? Remember, we required resolution. The issue's fixed. Yep, Emma got her pumpkin pie. Of course, we can also do that from the ticket dashboard. If I grab it and drag it to closed, the same thing happens. I am required to provide a resolution. Of course, resolution is just our example. You could have different fields that are required, right? All right, we now have what the tickets are, how they work, how to make them, how to progress and close them. Icing on top of the cake, no pun intended. Let's head over to reports. Under analytics tools, you have a whole option for your tickets. We'll see here service analytics, and that's a whole bunch right off the bat that you don't have to create, right? So you'll see not all of this is appropriate for every use case that we've talked about, but we have team performance, support volume, how many tickets are coming in, how long are tickets in the pipeline for, average time to a closed ticket. That's typically what we're talking about here. We haven't gone into customer satisfaction surveys yet, right? So you have a few options here. We can look at over time. You'll see here, that's all time. If we look at the totals, of course, you can specify different date ranges, just like with any reports. So that's kind of one set that you may find helpful. We can also visit the reports tab again and click good old reports. Now, as always, I'm going to visit create report. And just like any other object, you have several out of the box. So under data sources, I can go ahead and select tickets, and I have 18 reports right off the bat, right? So you could absolutely pick any of these if these are appropriate. Average time to respond, by rep, time to close. So how long does it take us to answer them back versus how long is the ticket in our pipeline to when it closes? Average time to close. So you have all of these kind of right off the bat, tickets closed by rep, that some of them, of course, when we click, we get the additional customize button. I like that because I can make changes. Other reports, of course, don't always have that customize button. So you may find oh, I have to create a custom report. And we do that exactly like we would with any other object. We'll click single object. And what do you know? What's the object we're talking about? Tickets. And just like with any report, you can specify, of course, filters. Maybe you're looking at create date. Maybe you want to talk close date. Maybe we're looking at just a specific filter, just a specific status, just a specific team, right? We can add any of those filters there. Under data, just like always, remember now, only ticket properties are going to show up here. So if you're looking at tickets per geography or industry, you'd actually want a custom report that smushes tickets and contacts or tickets and companies. So that's why sometimes when we have these custom fields, think about where does this custom field need to be? On the ticket, potentially, not a contact field. And then, of course, visualization. You guys know this part. You grab it, you drag it, right? How do I want to see it? Do I like bar graphs? I'm partial to bar graphs myself. Maybe pie charts more appropriate for certain times, right? So yes, of course, this topic was very broad. We're talking a lot about a lot of things, but as you can see, tickets can be pretty cool at solving kind of those back and forth conversations for a lot of different use cases. Internal teams, your vendor team, maybe your accounting team is accepting invoices from freelancers or vendors via ticketing tool. Why not, right? So go ahead and get creative. Think about how you can use this free feature. You don't need to buy Service Hub. Go ahead and play with it and see what you can get out of this Service Hub, all right? Good luck.